things that, and I'm talking physical evidence that was at that house that is, there could have been greater plans as far as getting rid of her, and it's scary, sadistic stuff. You can see the person and you can see what they're wearing something pretty distinctive, and there's photos that I have from 12 hours earlier, a person at the house.
Welcome to Spillhood, your go-to channel for the wildest truths and stories the industry never wants you to hear. Let's dive right in, because this whole David situation just keeps getting more unpredictable. At this point, it wouldn't shock anyone if Celeste's family decided to take legal action, not just against him, but possibly against his label as well. Now, to be clear, nothing's been officially confirmed. But with everything unfolding the way it has, the silence, the strange clips, and the missing details, it's starting to feel like something serious might be building behind the scenes. David's label, Darkroom under Interscope, has been completely silent, like they're walking on thin ice. No statements, no explanations, not even a basic response. The only person who's spoken publicly is his manager, Josh Marshall, who firmly denied any connection to what happened to Celeste Rivas Hernandez. Beyond that, absolute silence. And when a label stays this quiet during chaos, that's usually not a good sign. But here's where things get even more disturbing. While everyone's been talking about potential lawsuits, that might not even be the real story anymore. What's reportedly surfacing about Celeste's final hours could change everything.
We don't have any of her at that property. We have pictures of her and that were taken by David, we assume, because it's not on a camera phone, but these photos are on a regular camera at different locations. And it really makes me think that it's likely she had another place she was staying. I can tell you that there was a lot of time spent towards downtown LA. And I'll say the last photo that we have of Celeste is January 2nd, 20.
If these new details turn out to be true, everything we thought we knew about this situation might need to be completely rewritten. Something about Celeste's case has never sat right with anyone. Not since day one. The timeline around this whole situation is full of holes, and David's reaction from the start has only made things stranger. After cancelling all his tour dates, he completely vanished from the spotlight. No appearances, no statements, no energy, nothing. And while law enforcement hasn't officially labelled him a suspect, one fact remains. He was involved with someone far too young. That alone raises serious questions. You can sense how careful Celeste's family has been through all this. They haven't spoken publicly, but their silence feels strategic, like they're quietly gathering every piece of evidence before making their next move. It's the kind of silence that screams preparation. Because honestly, if this were just one big misunderstanding, wouldn't someone have spoken up by now to clear the air? David himself hasn't said a word. No interviews, no statements. Not even a short RIP post for the girl who, according to several sources, was his girlfriend. That silence says a lot. Sure, he might have avoided the funeral for understandable reasons, but saying something online would have at least shown some respect. And that's when everything took a shocking turn. Out of nowhere, a private investigator stepped in, and what he revealed flipped the entire story upside down. Just a few days ago, investigator Steve Fisher went public about what he'd uncovered. But he didn't sound like a man chasing attention. He sounded tired, haunted, like someone who'd seen too much. Fisher revealed that after months of digging, there was still no confirmed footage showing Celeste at the property everyone kept mentioning.
100% happened here. At minimum, it's the concealment of a body, right? So we know somebody did that. Hopefully it's not, a mutilation. Hopefully those initial reports were wrong about her being dismembered. But one thing I have to say, even though I talked about how we found some things that could have meant they had a really twisted plan in place to get rid of her, it never went in motion. So you can't charge somebody for a crime that they may have thought about doing. So, we may never know.
Instead, he found photos believed to have been taken by David himself. But here's the strange part. They weren't from a phone. They were taken with a regular camera, and the backgrounds didn't match the rumored house. These Pictures were clearly shot at completely different spots around the city. As Fisher connected the dots, he explained that the photos suggested Celeste might have been staying somewhere else entirely, possibly near downtown Los Angeles. The last known image of her was dated January 2nd, 2025, and that single detail completely changed the timeline everyone thought they knew. It didn't match the version of events that had been spreading online. And then, things got even crazier once Reddit got involved. A thread appeared titled, "Proof David rented his first place in Hollywood while still paying for Celeste's secret hideout." It claimed David had been paying rent for 2 different places at the same time, one near Hollywood and another much closer to where Celeste was eventually found. That made fans start asking tough questions. Why was that second property never searched? Was that where she stayed while he was away on tour? Just when people thought the digging was over, one Reddit user pointed out a chilling detail: the date.
This address where David is seen filming many TikToks, and after digging further, they found many videos and pictures of him at this house with Celeste. Like, this is the kitchen. This is his live stream with Celeste in the same kitchen. Here they're posing in front of a picture, and in the bathroom, there's that same picture.
Noticed that David got rid of that second property in March. According to the Post, whatever happened likely took place in early 2025, around January or February. And by March, the property was suddenly listed for rent again. Once people started digging into the property records, things got even stranger. It showed that David had rented that second property, then suddenly gave it up right around the same time the last photo of Celeste was taken. The timing felt way too perfect to be a coincidence. Another comment added even more fuel to the fire, saying, "It all just keeps looping back around." And fans began pointing to one of David's own lyrics, "Don't run away, I've got a place you can stay." Many now believe he might have been referencing that exact property. None of this has been officially proven.
House is 4 minutes from the LA home. He had this home at the same time he had the other home, so people are thinking its sole purpose was to hide Celeste. And mysteriously, at the beginning of this year, it went up for rent around the same time Celeste went missing. And just days before the private investigator came out and said that he knows who the last person is who drove David's Tesla, he posted this. He said, "You don't get answers unless you ask questions, so I'll ask, was it Neo?" Neo was a very close friend of David's. They were seen a lot together. So much so that they had a relationship that people speculated was more than just friends. But whether or not he...
But when you line up the facts, the photos dated in January, the house being listed again by March, and those eerie song lyrics, it's no surprise that people began connecting the dots. Still, with all the wild theories spreading online, the official facts can't be ignored. Authorities haven't labeled Celeste's death as a confirmed crime. The medical examiner hasn't shared an exact cause, and to this day, David hasn't been named a suspect. But the inconsistencies Steve Fisher uncovered are impossible to overlook. They make you question everything about that night. And when Fisher started to explain what he'd actually seen, the entire mood shifted. It was like he knew something the rest of the world wasn't ready to hear. He didn't reveal every detail, but he did drop one chilling phrase that froze everyone in place. Signs of a twisted plan. Something that, according to him, might have involved steps or tools meant to make Celeste disappear. Thankfully, whatever that plan was, it never fully played out. But the fact that someone could have even considered something that dark, that's deeply disturbing. Then came a theory from a viewer that spread like wildfire online. It hasn't been proven, but it reflects what many have been whispering since the start. The post read, "I've been saying it since the day after the body was found, before I even knew who this guy was. The body was in the Tesla when he left for tour. The whole tour was just a cover, an alibi." The commenter suggested that it could have been anyone who placed her there. Maybe someone close, maybe a stranger, since David wasn't even in the same state at the time. The replies exploded, with people saying this theory explained everything, even why the car was allegedly abandoned. One user summed it up in pure frustration. "This might be one of the most obvious, careless cases ever." The man basically documented their entire relationship in his music. The songs, the outfits, even her purses, and still thought hiding her face would fool the internet or the cops. That kind of arrogance, people said, made the whole situation even harder to stomach. And even though
Now
none
have evidence that Celeste's family knew about her relationship with David and allowed it. And this comment from 2024 is getting a lot of attention. So someone in Celeste's community commented on a post saying, "I live in Lake Elsinore, 5 to 10 minutes away. There was so much more going on. Her family knew he was with her since she was 11. They didn't care. All they cared for was the money given."
these theories have been proven, the fact that so many people believe them says a lot about how strange this story has become. At this point, it's not even about what's on camera anymore. It's about what's missing. The gaps, the silence, the moments in the timeline no one seems willing to explain. Those blanks might hold the truth everyone's been searching for. And if this ever makes it to court, which it's starting to sound like it might, those hidden details could end up being the key to everything. But there's one more piece that makes this story even darker: Celeste's age. Some of David's own friends reportedly told investigators they had no idea she was underage. They said they thought she was a 19-year-old college student. She was even seen attending USC events and sneaking into 21+ clubs and parties. Later, police confirmed Celeste had several fake IDs, which explained how she got into places she shouldn't have been. That's what makes this story so tragic. It blurs the line between manipulation and confusion. And just when things couldn't get more complicated, new reports revealed that around the same time all this began to unravel, David quietly transferred 2 of his Houston area homes into a trust under his mother's name. One of those homes was reportedly the same address that got swatted back in September, that fake 911 call that sent police storming his family's house in the middle of the night. The timing of that move raised serious questions. On paper, it might look like simple estate planning, but to a lot of people watching, it screamed damage control, like someone trying to lock down their assets before things exploded. And that's what stands out the most: the silence. Everyone's just moving quietly, pretending nothing's happening. But in this industry, silence never means peace. It usually means protection. Someone's hiding something, or someone. If Celeste's family decides to move forward with legal action, things could turn ugly fast. The label might end up right in the middle of it all, because if it turns out they ignored warning signs or stayed quiet about what they already knew, that's not just bad PR, that's negligence. And no amount of rebranding can cover that up. At this point, people aren't even angry anymore. They're just exhausted. Every new update reopens the same wound again and again. And as for David, it's hard to find the words. No matter how talented someone is, once your name gets tied to something this dark, the music stops hitting the same way. The songs that once felt deep now sound hollow. You can't listen without thinking about everything that's come out. And it's not just me. Everyone feels it. When people talk about his music now, it's not admiration. It's discomfort. It's confusion. It's a sense that something pure has been lost. Maybe forever. You can drop new songs, announce new tours, or post long apologies. But once your name is tied to loss, it sticks forever. No PR move can erase that kind of stain. And right now, nobody knows where this story goes next. But one thing history's proven: secrets never stay buried forever. Sooner or later, the truth comes out, or someone makes sure it never does. Either way, both outcomes are terrifying, because no matter how you look at it, what's been done can't be undone. If this lawsuit really happens, and from the looks of it, it just might, it won't only shake David's career, it'll expose the entire system that allowed this story to stay quiet for so long. And once that happens, there's no going back. If you want to stay updated as this story unfolds, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Spillhood, your source for the real stories they don't want you to hear. Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. If these theories have been proven, the fact that so many people believe them says a lot about how strange this story has become. At this point, it's not even about what's on camera anymore. It's about what's missing. The gaps, the silence, the moments in the timeline no one seems willing to explain. Those blanks might hold the truth everyone's been searching for. And if this ever makes it to court, which it's starting to sound like it might, those hidden details could end up being the key to everything. But there's one more piece that makes this story even darker: Celeste's age. Some of David's own friends reportedly told investigators they had no idea she was underage. They said they thought she was a 19-year-old college student. She was even seen attending USC events and sneaking into 21+ clubs and parties. Later, police confirmed Celeste had several fake IDs, which explained how she got into places she shouldn't have been. That's what makes this story so tragic. It blurs the line between manipulation and confusion.